The last two steps are bringing these other boards in. So I hit escape again to let go of the one board. I'm going to grab this one by its bottom corner, right there. So now it follows me, and I'm going to move it and place it right on top of this corner and release. And then I'll grab that board, the bottom corner, outside corner, and place it right up there and release, just like that. Okay, so now if I orbit around, I've got my headboard assembly made. The last thing I'm going to do is I want to group it. So I'm going to use H for hand and get this in a nice place. I'm going to grab my pointer tool and I'm going to drag across all of the pieces at the same time so that I've selected the whole thing. Now I'm going to control click and I'm going to make group. Now the difference between making a group and making a component, they're basically the same thing, but making a component, you can name it, you can put some other attributes of who created it, where making a group is just a very simple process. So now I have this grouped. I'm going to make 4 of these, 2 for the bottom, 2 for the top. I've already got it grouped. All I have to do is copy and paste, and I can put another one over here and paste, put another one, and then paste again. So now I've got 4. Now 2 of these are going to have the 2x6 low and 2 of them are going to be high. That's so that you have more room in the center. So to stand this up, I'm going to use my rotate tool. You can see I've got my rotate tool selected. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to get on the red or green axis, not on the blue axis. In this case, I want to be on the green axis. So I'm going to click and release. I'm going to come up the side here, click and release, and then I can stand it up. And I'm going to stand it up until I'm on the blue axis. Now I know that I'm 90 degrees. So this is one footboard, one headboard. Now this one I'm going to stand up. I'm going to grab it on, I'm going to use my move tool on these because the rotate tool can be a little finicky sometimes. So I'm going to grab the pointer tool. So click once on it, make sure I have the group. And then I'm going to get my move tool. I should get the plus sign, and then I can rotate it, and I want to be on the blue axis. But you'll see that it sits down below the surface, so that can be a little bit frustrating because now I've got to click on it and lift it up, and to get it up sometimes can be a real pain. So sometimes you may have to lift it up again, release, lift it up again until you get it to where you want. Grab a bottom corner and then make sure that it's on the same plane as everything else and then move it away. As long as you're on that plane, you're good. So I'm going to do the same with this. I'm going to stand this one up. And so I'm going to use my move tool. I'm going to grab it at a corner at one of the plus signs. There it is, plus sign. I'm going to turn it, get it at the blue axis. Then I'm going to move it upward until I get it to the height that I want. Sometimes you got to click on it, click on it, release it, etc. And don't try to make it perfect. Just grab it by a corner, touch it to something on the plane that you want it on, like so. And then click and slide it off to the side. That way you know that it's on the correct plane. I now want to make my side rails. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to grab my pointer tool. I'm going to get 4 of these, but I'm going to start out by making 1, and then I'm going to copy and paste it 4 times. So I'm going to copy this item, bring it over, and paste it over here. This is the side runner, and then I'm going to grab this one over here, and I'm going to click on this, copy, paste, and bring that over. Now I need to assemble these two into one unit. So I'm going to take my move tool and I'm going to grab this bottom corner and I'm going to come over here and place it on the upper face. Now I actually do want it in slightly because this piece is 72 inches and the piece that it's resting on is 75 inches. So I want it about 2 inches or an inch from the end. So I'm going to place that there, and I want to make sure that it's relatively even. So I check the other side. That looks pretty good. So now I'm going to click on both pieces. I've got this one selected. I'm then going to hold my shift key and click that. And now I'm going to make it a group. So I'm going to control click and make group. So now I'm going to turn this up 90 degrees. So I'm going to grab my rotate tool. I want to get on a green face here. I click release, come out here, make a handle, click release, and then stand it up. And again, I want to be at 90 degrees. So I watch that 90-degree angle, and I'm on blue axis, so I got it at 90 degrees. I need 2 of these just like this, and then 2 turned around 180. So I'm going to copy and paste this, so that gives me a second one. Now the 2 rails that I've made, I have to turn 90 degrees so that the small boards, the ledger board as it's called, faces the opposite ledger board. So I'm going to have 2 of them facing each other. So I'm going to use my rotate tool, and I'm going to grab a corner. I'm going to press, click again, make a handle, and now turn that 90 degrees. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other one, but this time I'm going to turn it 90 degrees in the opposite direction. And again, I want it to be on a 90-degree axis. So using that move tool, I'm going to bring this one over just to clean it up a little, and this one like that. And now I need to place them in between the headboard, footboard. So I'm going to grab one, and I'll use my move tool. I'm going to grab this upper corner right there. I'm going to place it in line with this. So I'm going to touch right here, release it, then I'm going to grab it on the face and slide it outward until it touches that edge. Now if I can't get it exactly, just let go of it again, grab that corner and touch the face while you're on that edge. Okay, so now I've got that correct. I'm going to move the footboard down to line up with it. So I'm going to escape here. I'm going to grab my footboard, move that out, get it close. I'm going to orbit around, and then I'm going to slide the footboard in using the move tool. Make sure that it lines up, then back it up a little until it's right on that face. You can double check by zooming in to make sure that it lines up. So there's one side. Now I'm going to orbit around, and I'm going to do the opposite side. Same method. Now if you place the other one right, it should look like this, and when you zoom out and zoom in on the opposite side, you should be in good shape. They should both line up on both sides. Now, before I group this or do anything further, I actually want to use 2 of these again for the upper bunk. So I'm going to click on one, I'm going to hold my shift key down, click on the other, I'm going to copy and paste it and just move it off to the side over here for now. And then I'm going to finish up my lower bunk. So now I need some slats. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to grab some of these 39-inch slats right there. So I'm going to copy this. Again, I'm not using any of my original boards. I'm keeping them here, copying and pasting however many I need. You'll find it beneficial to rotate around to this angle as you place these boards in. So I've already copied one. I'm going to paste another one, and I'm going to place it in here so it's on that ridge. And then I'm going to paste another. And again, try to get it on the ridge, equally spaced. And then paste another. And you can always go back and tweak these when you're done. And I'm going to orbit around one more time so I can get in on this side here. And then paste. This one may be a little more difficult. Nope, there we go. And just get it close to the edge so that the feet of the kids don't fall down between the headboard and the rail. All right, so now we've got that. I'm going to orbit around, and that looks like a pretty good bunk bed base. Now, before I go do anything else, I want to group this. So I'm going to get overhead where I can get a good look at it. I'm going to get my pointer tool. I'm going to drag across and select it and only it. And then I'm going to right click on it and group it. Now I've got my bottom bunk. Now to make this process a little faster, what I did is I copied and pasted my bottom bunk and removed the headboard and footboard. And now I have this new group, which is just the sideboards and the slats. I'm now going to place this in between these two headboard, footboard for the upper part. So I'll get my move tool. I'm going to grab it by this bottom corner and I'm going to zoom in, and I want this one to line up on this top edge right here. Okay, so I release, come over, orbit around a little, and I may have to move this over slightly. So I'll grab it, move it over. I've got this all lined up. So now I'm going to take a look and I'm going to group this object as one object also. So zoom out a little bit, get my pointer. I'm going to use the hand tool, which is H, just to slide that up. Grab my pointer tool and make sure that I drag across the whole thing. Making sure not to get the canvas underneath. Now I'm going to right click on it and make group. Okay. Now using my orbit tool O on the keyboard, I'm going to rotate around where I can see both of these. The top one is going to be placed on top of the bottom one. So I grab my move tool, grab this bottom corner right there, lift it up and place it on top of this one. So I have to zoom in a little bit and make sure that they line up. The only thing that I have left to do is place the 2x4s along the top to prevent little kids from falling out. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to use my move tool or my selection tool. I'm going to copy this item and I'm going to bring two of them over and place them into the top of the bunk bed. But I need to rotate them first. So I'll use my rotate tool or my move tool to rotate them. So I'm going to zoom in on this object. I'm going to come along this face on blue axis. I'm going to turn it 90 degrees till I'm on a red axis. And I'm going to stand it up on end. So again, I will use my move tool. Come on and rotate till I'm upward on the blue axis. And then I'm going to copy and paste so I have two of these. This one, I'm going to zoom right in on the bunk and I'm going to place it up here. Again, don't worry if you get it exact. Just let go of it, zoom in, and then grab it by the proper corner and then line it up. And it should line up on both sides. I'm going to hit escape, grab my other one down here from this upper corner, zoom in on the corner that I want it to touch, and release. And now my bunk bed is completely done. At this point, I can get rid of my canvas because that's not needed. I can select the entire object. So again, I'm going to orbit around until I get it at a good angle. I'm going to use my pointer tool and I'm going to group the whole thing. And at this point, I can copy and paste as many of these as I want. If I want to work on it and make changes to it, I just double click and you can see that the outside stuff has gone to a pale green and now I'm inside the object. And if I want to further delve into it, I can click on particular pieces and parts and you'll see everything fades out when I'm working on a particular part. And I can click on each individual piece. To escape this, I just click on the outside and I'm back out. So there you have it, the completed bunk bed with a top and a bottom bunk that can be separated out as individual components, and you can utilize it as a twin bed or as a bunk bed.